Shall I start again? I don't know, let's do it. Hey guys, I'm sipping on a Pepsi Cherry Vanilla. It's from the States. I haven't had one of these in ages. Or ever, actually. Ages.
This is foreign beverages. Yeah. Oh my god, it's from the States.
It's delicious. I recommend you try one. And if you do, please bring it back. We're in Winnipeg. We live in the North End. Well, I live in the North End. Come.
What happened to all this? You will never know where I live. So if you know where to get this, bring it down to my exact address.
We'll meet somewhere local or somewhere where there's lots of witnesses, so that I know I'll be safe.
You can tell where I live because you'll notice it's like a gradient of like Polish and Filipino people. The more dense of those populations there are, the closer you're getting to my house. If you like this podcast, bring me free stuff, please.
Please bring me free stuff. So we gotta tackle that Wonder Woman topic, but we should hit that later.
Well, let's start her off real quick. This is Tomfoolery episode
8.
8?
We're on numero 8.
The Ocho.
The Ocho, yes. I don't know any Spanish. So, I really should, but I don't.
If you care who we are, I'm Brendan. This is Adrian.
Yo.
And this is McAvoy here.
Oh yeah.
I think you always call him McAvoy. It's awesome. Nonetheless.
And we're starting today. Shall we start with Wonder Woman or?
No, we'll touch that a bit later.
Because I got something. I was gonna say this to Mac, but I was holding it.
Okay, let's go with this.
I'm getting ready to throw my common countrymen under the bus again.
The Canadians?
Yes, actually, specifically Winnipeg.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Wait, I might know about this.
So the other day, June 6th, over in Kenniston, there was a car accident.
Oh.
I don't know if you heard about that.
Different subject, but I know.
There was a T-bone that happened. Some fucknugget was turning left into the intersection. This is just outside the mall. I'm sure you know what intersection I'm talking about.
Which one? Kenniston and...
Yeah, Kenniston Boulevard and that
McGillivray?
highway, the really busy intersection just off St. Mary's, or near St. Mary's.
Oh, you're talking about Bishop there.
I think I'm talking about that one.
Yeah, okay.
Like, are you talking like where like Mongo's and shit is?
I think it might be that one actually.
Like, I think McGillivray.
Yeah, I might be mislocating this entire
whatever,
spot.
It doesn't
Okay, there was some car accident on
this.
this.
It's on Kenniston Boulevard.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Specifically, a really bad intersection.
Yeah, that would be one of them.
It's probably the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where we're talking about, that's not the point. The point is that there was a fellow who was in the intersection in the left turn lane who had a dash cam, and this is where this footage I saw comes from. This guy posting this dash cam footage on the Winnipeg subreddit that I watched because people are fucking stupid on that.
People are stupid everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just like a common thing.
News at 11, right?
Yeah, exactly. Common news at 11.
Common
People are dumb.
Stupid.
So he's behind this truck that is turning left in the left turn lane.
Mm-hmm.
Big giant semi. The footage shows this guy in this blue sedan. No, he's in a black car. It's like a small...
Blue, no, black.
Dark blue.
The blue car hits him. The black car is going through the green light, and out of nowhere, the blue sedan is in the left turn lane on the opposite side, turning in, and ends up T-boning the driver there. Typical accident. The guy who was in the blue sedan, obviously it was his fault. He shouldn't have been turning into the lane.
Yeah.
Because if you can't feasibly see what's in the incoming lane, wait until you can.
Yeah.
Or if you can't and the truck is still there, go when it's in a yellow light or red. Because you're stuck in the intersection, you don't want to be there when traffic flows.
Yeah.
So the guy posts the footage, and people are like, yeah, obviously it's the blue guy's fault. Show MPI the video, and it'll help the guy out in his case. The OP in that thread was like, nah, it's obviously the blue guy's fault. They'll pick up on this immediately. They'll know to charge specifically the guy in the blue. And my first thought to that is like, all right, how do you know that? Just send the video in. How hard is it to do that? Email AMPI, give them the description of the video. Say I found this is where I was on that day. If anyone's coming with a claim like that, this is probably what happened.
This will fit the description.
It's the easiest thing in the world.
The thing is, though, especially with the clip, they can even use the license. I'm pretty certain the license plate's on there, especially if it's a dash cam. You see that.
It was HD footage, yeah.
Well, exactly. So they can just match the license plates.
It's the easiest thing in the world. Just email MPI, attach the video file to it, and give them a fucking description of what happened. Yeah. They'll use it according to what they want to do with it.
Well, who knows? He might have. You don't know that.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't?
This is very specifically why I have a problem with this fuck nugget. Because he specifically said he wasn't going to do it. And I said to him, because his reply to that was, it's obviously 100% the guy in blue's fault. And all I had to say to that is, well, they don't know that. You don't know that, and MPI won't know that unless you show them this video. Now, if you don't send the video in, the person who got hit, it's not his fault, could possibly be paying 50% liability on the accident if MPI discerns this, if not more.
Yeah.
And this guy could be charged hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for an accident that was, according to you, 100% the other guy's fault. And what really gets me about this was his answer to that was, well, why would he be held liable if it was 100% the other guy's fault?
Bitch.
My brain was like, dude, I just fucking told you why MPI would charge the other guy. Did you not read? Like, send the video in. And he reluctantly decided that he was going to do so afterwards, after me and about, 10 to 12 other people tried convincing him.
Yeah.
And his main reason for being so reluctant was apparently he did so before, and MPI just kind of brushed it off like it was consequential. That being said, it's like, would you rather send the video in and MPI not need it in their case than MPI need it in their case and you not sent it in? You know?
Yeah.
It's all about liability here. You just, clear your bases, send the video in, and claim you've done your part. But this guy was just like, I just finished telling him exactly why it could be his fault, and it's just like everything just whooshed past his fucking brain there, in one ear, out the other, and he didn't take any of it in. It's like, dude, just send it. Just send it. Just be a good Samaritan.
Yeah, like, I think if it's a vehicle crash, you lose 6 merits or something, and that's a major cost.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get
even if you
back.
have like $400 deductible, which is still $400, but that merits could drop you thousands of dollars
It takes
over
years
time.
of good driving to earn good merits, man.
Yeah, and if you're in the negatives, ask the guy to our left here about how much his license costs and how much it costs to register a vehicle.
It's fucking ridiculous. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's
See, part I take responsibility for the accidents that were mine. I do, but the one that wasn't mine, blatantly wasn't mine, because I was able to actually show Mac a pretty close example of what happened to me, because when we were driving home last time from the podcast...
Start from the beginning with the incident.
Okay, so...
Just for context.
Yeah, for context. So, 2 years ago, I think it was? Yeah, 2 years ago, just after New Year's, we had a huge blizzard that hit. So I had to go to work the next day. So after the blizzard was done and everything, I'm driving. It's icy out and stuff, so I'm being cautious. So there's a clover leaf, which is basically, comes up for the thing, or you can come down, so on and so forth. The semi is coming off the clover leaf, and I have to turn to go on the clover leaf. Okay? So I'm in my lane, and I'm about to go. I'm able to merge, but the semi just kind of guns it and keeps going. So
are you in front or behind the semi?
In a sense, I'm in front, but then beside. It's kind of like because he's coming
up on you?
You're in the lane beside him, but you're closer to the front of him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm closer to the front of him, but he's coming down a roundabout in a sense.
Uh-huh.
So and because semis are long, right? I'm ahead of him on his way down, but with everything behind him and with the ice and everything, he's kind of going faster.
Yeah.
So, but he ends up cutting me off, hitting me with his trailer, spinning me out, sending me into the barricade, because he just comes straight off the thing and everything, doesn't mind anybody around him or whatever. Okay. And bear in mind, due to the circumstances, yes, but I even hit my brakes and I couldn't do nothing. I was sliding.
Yeah.
So I slammed on my brakes. I even swerved to get out of the way of him, and he still hit me. And then I went into the barricade, but I got blamed for it because of the fact that the semi took off. Because he didn't stop to check if I was okay or anything like that. He just kept going to where he was going.
Oh, they couldn't even find out who he was?
No, and that was it. And because they couldn't find out who it was or what actually happened, and I had no actual witnesses.
Maybe it was Ghost Rider, the spirit of vengeance,
Yeah,
possessing a semi.
Spirit of vengeance. Go
Did you
fuck
look
yourself.
into his eyes?
Yes. He's like, fuck you, don't go to Walmart. You can't work there today. But anyways, no, when Mac and I were driving home the other day, something similar happened, and Semi was coming off, and even Mac kind of veered a bit out of the way, because he was like, oh buddy, because he came pretty close. And I kind of pointed to him, that's pretty well the exact same scenario that happened. It's just he actually came all the way over type thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Who does the yield fall into place of when someone's zipper.
Like you
It varies.
didn't change lanes, did you? In that one?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, like he has like it's pretty much it's spotters' rights or squatters' rights is where it's just like I have.
If
This
you're
is
on the
my
main
spot.
thoroughfare, it's the person turning in that has the fault of
Yeah, like,
merging properly.
Like if you're in your lane and someone goes into you, like even if like you're driving and someone goes into your lane and slams on your brakes, like it could be their fault because it's not you can't.
Can't feasibly react in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
if he cuts you off and hits the brakes, like he didn't give you the car length, like you couldn't adjust to him. He didn't give you that chance.
Yeah, like that's kind of a gray area because then it's like how long is enough time kind of thing. But like it's you have the right to where you're driving, and then if someone goes into your lane, then it's on them.
Yeah.
Because it's like I was in my spot. It's like those clover leaves are like when you're weaving where you wanted to go into his lane and he wanted to go into your lane at the same time, and there's not that much room.
Well, how busy was it though? You mean
It wasn't really busy at all. Like it was literally like I was the only person going down that road at the time, and it was like him and then like 3 other people on the cloverleaf coming down. Literally, I ended up crashing in the barricade, which is in the middle of both cloverleafs, like because they have a pretty long straightaway, so people can come off, people can come on, right?
Yep.
I was like dead center of that thing, right in the barricade. People just drove around me. Nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah. Well,
Like that's pretty sad. Like.
you explained that it was in the middle of winter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like so that's like a whole.
At least bring
thing.
you a blanket or something.
Yeah, you
Throw
think,
one out the
whatever.
window as you
like
drive
I like it was really close. It was really close to home anyway. So like
Just push the car home.
no, I drove it. It was still drivable.
Oh, yeah?
But I lost
He
my
walked-
entire front end.
He walked it home like a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his hand on.
Hand on the steering wheel, holding the door open.
Yeah.
You know.
Minus 20.
Slurpee on the top of the
Oh
car.
yeah, of
sipping
course
on
we
it,
need our Slurpee. Man.
Yeah, I was getting hot. It was tough pushing that thing home all the
Yeah,
way.
do you not understand?
Yeah.
Jeez, actually, like speaking of stuff like that, there's like the whole guy not willing to do the right thing. I was working with my father yesterday, and the lady we were working for explained to me there was a guy on CTV News recently. Can't remember his name at the moment, but he's done more.
Fuck Nugget McWinnipegger.
That's
Yeah, sure.
that's a local local TV station to
Yes.
you not known to
I would
us.
imagine that they could figure out that CTV.
Yeah, like
Well,
isn't
I-
that
I-
Canadian
Canadian
television?
television, yeah.
Like I thought that's what CTV stood for. Nonetheless, so this guy, what he would do is he would quote jobs and like he would lowball them. So like I know you know a little bit about the like construction field for the most part, and you know a little bit with your schooling there, McAvoy, you engineer bastard. So with that, and I kind of want to know if you've heard of stories of this happening with engineers as well, because I'm pretty certain it's happened everywhere. But so what this guy would do is he would quote jobs really low. So this lady needed her basement finished because it was an unfinished basement. She needed it finished and done, and the guy quoted her $7,000 for the labor, all of the material, and to get it done. That is blank. Like no matter what, that is automatically a lowball.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I was just gonna say that's actually not a lot considering for a basement suite.
like just for a basement in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cheap, right?
Yeah.
So it makes you want to go, yeah, sure, right?
Yeah.
But that's not actually a good quote because it's not really possible not to do it well. That's cutting a lot of corners and a lot of risks.
It's like attributing Adolf Hitler quotes to Albert Einstein. It is a quote, but it's completely wrong.
It's exactly.
Baseless, yeah.
So me and my father went in there. We literally tore down all of it. Literally all the wiring he did, which was all dead, and like he cut one of their main wires to their fridge, and then half-ass fixed it. So
You
like
just leave it.
yeah, and then just left it. But the thing is though, not only did he quote this job, come and do half of it, because he only did half the basement, and he didn't like finish it or anything. He took a deposit from them, and like a good chunk of it, I'm not sure how much exactly he took from them, but it was he quoted them $7,000, so I'm assuming it was somewhere close to that. And then he fucked off.
You just didn't finish it.
Yeah, he didn't finish. He just left.
To get that, I wouldn't think you'd give more than half up front before it's
Well,
done.
no, like that's just it. Like,
Like,
he's done, like on CTV. Like this girl didn't go and complain. She says she wanted to stay out of it, which is why I'm not bringing up names or anything.
Yeah.
But like on CTV, they were saying other people have gotten like a guy wanted his siding painted and he wanted stucco done. The guy was like, "Yeah, give me $400 deposit and I'll get started right away."
So he was just on CTV because it was a news story of a guy ripping people off?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So, but like, it's not just that. This isn't the first time I've heard of this. This is one guy specifically right now.
Yeah.
But like, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
And like, it's really sad to see that because you get hardworking people who actually can do the jobs well, and people are afraid to hire them because they don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, and it's tough where it's like, if you're a contractor and you need, of a $7,000 job, you need $2,000 worth of material you need to buy
To start it,
to start the job. You'd be like, oh, I would like some up front so I could pay for the equipment for this job.
What you should do, and this is the Canadian way to go about it, I think, is what everybody should be doing in Canada, is give their deposit in like a drip feed of like paying for their coffee and donuts and breakfast in the morning every day they're working there, and make sure that by the end of the job, completion date, that it equals up to the deposit, all in coffee and donuts, and then just give them the rest after that.
Totally.
But like, oh, you what?
Well, no, like the way
I gave you $2,000 worth of donuts.
Yeah, I'm pretty
You've
certain
earned it.
the way my father does it for the most part, and I'm not 100% on this, but like from what I've gathered, is he'll start at the job. I don't even think he takes a deposit. I think when he's halfway done, he takes half of the money.
Well, your dad's a real stand-up dude regarding like renovations and stuff.
Oh yeah, my dad's phenomenal, but like
yeah.
nonetheless, like he'll take half then, and then like afterwards he'll like take the rest when he's done the job, and he's finished jobs and left, and like when they call him and go, hey, this like thing's kind of acting up, like he'll come back and he'll check on it, like he makes sure. Like we did a mobile flip. You were there for that one. When we were done, he had to go back and check on some taps and stuff. It was just minor things that happened once it started up, right?
Yeah. Things get broken during the renovation, yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't even they were broken. It was just because it was like the first time they were actually in full use of some people living there because it was already bought and they moved in and everything. So it was just like minor things just getting kind of loose or they weren't tightened 100%. So you just got to kind of like tighten a couple things and it was good to go. But like it's just really sad that like things like that happen to people. Like my dad felt bad. Like he didn't even want to charge her as much as he did because he's like she got screwed over so bad, and I like. Even talking to her, like she's nice, and like nice people are getting screwed out of their money too. Like it's not just the contractors losing out; it's everybody, and it's just because some schmuck wants to try and make a fake buck.
That's the thing is that it doesn't matter what field you're in. A few bad eggs are gonna spoil it for everyone.
Well, that's what I was curious because like I know in the construction field it is a bit easier to like play with that, but like I know engineering like
no,
it's a similar form, but like it's different in a sense because yours is more elaborate.
And it's also you're comparing a $7,000 product to a $7 million product.
That's
project.
Oh, big talk.
No, I'm
that's just it. You got to realize, like, I know you're an engineer, but I don't know much about your field, which is why I said I don't know if it happens.
I'm saying where it's like you're gonna do a little more due diligent when it's that big of a project, and if you screw off, you're getting sued, people aren't gonna be like. People will be like, oh, people won't be like what this lady did, where she'll just be like, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. It'd be like, you stole $500,000 from me. I want that money.
Where's my money?
It's worth the lawyer's fee to get a lawyer to go get it to get that money back, as opposed to for $500 or whatever. Where it's like it still sucks. Where it's like you took this money from me for nothing, but it's just like contractors. It's such a where. Like, obviously, where some people, if they have the capital that they don't need money right away, where it's like, some people where it's like, if they're starting up and it's like, I don't have any capital to pay, like, I have all my tools and shit, but like, where it's like...
Yeah, it's like, I don't have the supply, I don't have the wood and everything I can do this with.
Yeah, exactly.
Material,
like,
the proper materials.
The proper materials for that specific job, where it's, they need money off the bat just to complete the job to
No, I know,
done.
and that's why I said like my dad may sometimes ask for like a small deposit. Like I don't know fully. Like I'm not him. I'm not the one doing the quotes or anything, right? I'm just the extra helper.
Yeah, you're the gopher.
No, I'm better than a gopher because I actually do work. I don't go and get stuff. I actually do things.
You go get them and then do stuff with it.
Yes, that's
like
also a fact.
He's like the main character in Shrek where he gets stuff done.
Exactly.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I was gonna get on a different tangent. That's just because you are an engineer, and that being that like engineers these days.
Engineering training.
Yeah, engineering student.
No, it's in training.
In training now.
In training.
It's got the wheels on people.
Did you actually?
Oh yeah.
You finally got one.
Richard, I had mentioned to you how Richard is a engineering student as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing is a apparently it was described to me that engineers are becoming something in the vein of graphic design artists, where there's so fucking many of them. I don't know how well that holds up in your opinion, but that's what I hear.
There's a lot of them, and then also like with the amount of like modeling technology and stuff like that,
Yeah.
there's less like work where it's like to do like a job 30 years ago that would take 3 people to do would take 1 person to do now.
And a computer program.
And a computer program.
Yeah.
So it's like there was a lot more legwork to be done for a job, or it's like doing a drafting. Doing it by hand took 4 times as long. So it's just like all the projects where it's like it's just the amount of man work is needed is getting less with the amount of technology getting better and like modeling and simulation and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot where you're doing more like report writing, and that's why there's a lot of field work where you can't.
So like a less heavy-handed version of every fucknugget who thinks he's got Photoshop as a design artist now. Kind of in that vein.
Not to that degree, but it's...
Those are whoosh whoosh artists.
It's similar problem with different reasons for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar.
There's still like obviously like right now I'm looking, so I don't have a job, so.
Yeah. Hey, people, he's free.
Yeah.
We need to design some houses for
Hook
you.
me up.
Doesn't necessarily need to be an engineering job. I hear he has knee pads.
I've won.
Holy, one individual. He's like balancing while he does this.
I was
I
just
have a knee
gonna,
brace that I use as a knee pad.
I was just gonna mention that our friend Richard there had the weirdest first interaction with his learning location. He's a student, summer student at a location now.
Yeah.
He's just doing what would you call that, internship, I guess.
Is he Red River or is he?
I'm not
Okay,
sure. I'm getting this all secondhand.
No, it's like a co-op
explaining
placement
it to-
kind of thing.
Yeah. He was on site helping someone out because apparently an on-floor machine had busted.
Yeah.
And he was working with the operator to figure out what the problem was. You know, give him a questionnaire and trying to figure out what the root of the problem is and how to fix it.
Yeah.
And in the middle of his interview with the operator, the machine operator, be it like, I don't even know what it was. It might have been like a CNC operator. The floor manager came down, and he's like this 6'2" big built man, and he comes up to Richard and he says, "What are you doing on my floor? You're holding up production." He wasn't holding up production. The machine operator was doing his job, giving the questionnaire at the same time. The floor manager, again, what are you doing on my floor? Get off my fucking floor. You're holding up production. And Richard's trying to calmly explain that he's just trying to help the machinist get back to doing his job properly.
Yeah.
You know, keep production smooth. And he got removed from the floor by this guy. And his higher up, who is the manager of the warehouse that he was at, he goes to him, and the manager's this like 5'2" guy. He's bald, by the way, and you'll understand why he's bald in just a moment. So he goes up to the manager and explains to him, "Yeah, I got pulled off my questionnaire off this guy," and his boss, Richard's boss, goes, "Who the fuck pulled you off? Who pulled you off? Fucking bring me to him." And so you got this short Richard, who's also like 5'1", with his 5'2" boss, walking up to the floor manager's office, which is on the second level. Floor manager's 6'2".
You're just describing a boss level?
Yeah. You got
these 2 little guys going up against the big guy.
Yeah.
You gotta go to level 2.
fucking
in the
Frodo,
back room.
fucking Frodo and Sam here walking up Mount Doom to
Yeah.
Saruman here. They find this guy, and the 5'2" boss guy starts ripping into him. "Why the fuck do you pull my summer student off the floor? Don't you know how vital it is he's helping out this goddamn company? Who the fuck are you to tell my summer student, get the fuck out of here?" And apparently the way this guy interacted with him, the 6'2" guy was just shrinking into his seat.
Just melting?
Yeah, he's just melting into his chair as this little fucking short house, like brick house guy is ripping into him. And according to Richard, it was like the coolest thing he's ever seen.
Yeah.
And to me, who's someone who's worked in you also
Oh
work,
my god, RJ Millward.
Yeah.
Shit.
that kind of interaction to me reeks of miscommunication in the workplace, and that would scare the shit out of me. I'd be like, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah.
That's apparently the way it was. I picked up off of it. this sounds like a regular occurrence between these two individuals. And if that man is that fucking off the wall with someone just removing a summer student from the floor, it's no wonder he's bald.
Just
probably
sits there just rubbing that spot on his head,
fucking
right?
shining her up with stress, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
Why?
Have you ever had did you ever go through anything like that? Like any
No, like I didn't. Like it would be like what I was doing last year. I was doing quality assurance, so I would pretty much tell people that they'd have to do their work again and do it better.
You didn't do it good enough. Get the fuck back in
pretty
there.
much, like there was one, like they were doing backfill on grades, so they would be placing clay on top of for a highway, and then they would be packing it and drying it out to make sure it met a standard. And the foreman in charge of that, this guy was just like, he thought we were just a waste of his time, and he was
really?
like, or no, it kind of, and then it was also where we used a machine that uses radiation, and he's like, magic is lies, don't worry about it.
This is foreign nonsense.
Yeah, so pretty much he's just like, and he's also from BC, so he's like, oh, we never did it. Everything we did was not how they did it over there, and it was just a waste. Where, like, this machine is, like, several $1,000s that we're using, and if you look at the instruction manual, number 1 is do not get it wet. And then
What's the name of the machine, by the way?
It's a nuke gauge.
Okay.
So it uses radiation to see how dense the material is underneath it.
Oh, okay.
So, you can either... Yeah, okay, anyway. But... it would be pouring rain, and he would want us to do tests, and be like, we can't do tests, it's raining, we can't get the machine wet. And then he would just, and also, like, a big part of it is the amount of moisture, and it's not going to get a good reading for moisture if it's literally raining and sitting in a puddle.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's going to be a little wetter than what it actually is, which is probably the biggest reason for failure of that material. It was just like, and he would just like, oh, we never did it over here, and it was just like, I don't know what kind of imbeciles would just break this machine, because it's like, if it got too much moisture in there, this machine will literally stop working, and then we'll have to send it away, and we would have to explain to him every time what would happen if a machine broke and how it would affect him. It'd be like, we have 2 machines for several different things happening at once. If we move down to 1 machine, which is half, it would mean that everything would take twice as long, because instead of 2 machines going around and you getting half of it, there would only be 1 machine. So then everything would take twice as long, because we have half the amount of machines to do all the work.
Man.
And then it would just be like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
It does sound bad.
Yeah, pretty much. Everything that we did, it would make sense for everything. We would have to, like, step by step explain how it affects him for everything.
Oh my God.
It would just be
For
like,
him to be like,
yeah, be like, oh, I guess you're right. And then that guy, he got better on, like,
He couldn't see farther than 2 steps in front
yeah,
of him,
like, pretty much it was like, if this doesn't directly impact me, I don't want any part of it.
Okay.
So it was he got better on towards the end of the time. So, like,
By the end, you're hitting Timmy's with him. He's still bitching at you. Why aren't you done that yet?
because I'm here.
Because I'm here with you.
What do you want from me?
He calls you off, whatever you're doing, he calls you off, goes, let's go to Tim's, man, I need to talk. You just sit there, why the fuck aren't you getting your job done? I'm here with you. I need to yell at you about it.
Just in a defense mechanism, just hold the machine directly in between you and wherever his fist happens to be. You want to break it? Don't break it.
You don't want to lose this.
Yeah, but it was good. Like, my boss, like, was just like, or a couple of my bosses, like, he's not my superior at all. He just, like,
He was some schmuck.
no, it's like we worked
A client of
like,
sorts.
No, like, we worked for the same company, but, like, he had no control over my job. So, like, my boss would be like, if he ever gives you trouble, tell him to call me, and I will tell him what's up. And it would just be like, and then, like, several of my bosses were like, yeah, if he gives you any trouble, just tell him to call me, and I'll tell, or you can call me, and then I'll call him. And
that is the best feeling.
Yeah, where it's just like, like, that was why I really liked the company, where it's like, my bosses were like, if he gives you any problems, I'll give him problems.
I would just love to hear one of those conversations where, like, they call him or, like, he calls them. And, like, you just get from him, like, yeah. And then all you get from them, their response is, you know what's up.
Yeah.
That's the whole conversation.
Not
Then
even-
it's, oh shit.
Not even that. He just breathes heavily into the phone, and then hangs up, and then shit gets done on set.
Yeah, things just change.
No, it's like my big boss of that was she was a woman, and then she was just like so like I would like. Or like I remember one time where it's like I called her and then she's like, "Let me talk to him," and then I just like handed him my phone. And she's just like, "Yeah, okay." And then she's like, "Here you go, have it back." And then she's like, "Yeah, you won't have any problems anymore." I'm like, "Okay." Thanks.
How many different penile related threats were uttered in that
I don't know.
conversation?
I didn't hear that part. I was just staring into the space, looking at the traffic go by.
Like, I could just like totally. I'll call her. I'll call her. Don't make me call. I'll call her. All right, I'm calling her. Just standing there, like I can like, see that whole interaction between you two. Like him just yelling, like, "Don't make me call. I'll call her." Like
Honestly,
like, it's such a threat.
Nothing feels better when you're doing on-site work than someone giving you a little bit of a hard time, and then you just go straight past them to their higher up,
Yeah.
and then you see it a little ways away, and shit is getting done over there. I had that a couple of times. You used to work a couple of sites with me, but you didn't do as much of it as I did. But
Well, you stuck around.
the low-income housing projects just down here.
Yeah, actually, that's where that lady lived who got screwed over. Right near there.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, like I was doing her basement, looking out her basement back window. I could see one of the buildings and it said Mink on it.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I was like, holy shit, I'm close. Yeah, I was like super close here yesterday. I was there for 8 hours. It took us to undo that guy's stuff and then redo it so she could sell it.
Well, the low-income housing units, specifically, this is after you'd left the company. I was doing a winter job there of some, I don't remember the name of the suite, but they aren't like apartment suites, they're joint houses.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially one long stretch of just single floor houses. I had to do 12 suites in one day, and I think about 6 of them had tiling work being done at the same time as we had to move in.
Oh, no way.
Which is the fucking worst because they give you shit, don't get dirt on my floor. I give them shit because where am I putting all this shit, right? Where am I putting fucking 12 cabinets, 15 cabinets for every goddamn suite? If you guys have 6 of them with like all the shit pulled across the floor and goddamn glue everywhere.
Yeah.
That very specifically, I remember because I used to work with this fellow, and I think he had development problems at birth. Because not to throw him under the bus or anything, because like if he does, and I'm just being an asshole, you know, that's whatever.
You're talking about your relative, right?
I don't think any less of him for it.
Yeah.
It's just that he didn't do or have the initiative to do anything about the situation. I got sick of it. My foreman, who I was on the phone with, he was like, "I can't do anything. Just do what you can." I knew a couple of guys from working on that site. You know, you work a single site for months on it, you're going to become acquainted with some of the people.
Yeah.
There was one guy who was from Australia, and what do we call him? We just called him Aussie. I went to him, and I went straight to the fucking foreman of the entire goddamn project.
Yeah.
And oh boy, did those guys have their goddamn shit out of there in like a half hour after me calling the guy. And it was like, that something like that is the best feeling, man. Because it's like, you don't have to argue with the people who are just, they're only doing that because they're trying to make their job easier.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's like zero foresight into it. And me going straight to the fucking, just talking to God here, essentially. You know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just like this religious thing, like, I took a moment and I spoke with God, and God from the heavens said, "Move your shit!"
It totally helped that feeling that the foreman of the entire site was a friendly old white man with a big bushy white beard.
Yeah, there's
so you went and talked to Santa.
Yeah.
There's the people who just see it as a pissing contest. Where it's like, I'm not gonna move my shit. You move your shit.
Yeah.
I'm here. This is my place. You get out of here.
I'm her first. Don't you be like that.
Common manners, man, out of just anybody.
Or just logic where it's like, I need my stuff to be here too.
Yeah. I don't get to go home today unless you guys move your stuff, please, you know? Yeah, that kind of stuff. It just feels good to have people, you know, move. They give way, essentially, you know? I've won that battle.
Yeah, it's like, it kind of feels like an underdog story. Like, you came out on top. You're like,
Yeah, I've had a couple of things where I've been, like, supervising, and then it would be, like, whenever there'd be things, I'd be like, well, I'll call the boss, see what he says, and then, like, he can, or they can just, like, make the decision being like, yeah, this is how it's happening, you can't, it's how it's happening, you can either leave or do it the way we say it is, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is what he says, all right, I guess we're doing that. I'm like, there you go. I'm like, you should have just.
Yeah, should have just done what I asked
Or
you to
those
do.
guys that when you say that, you're like, oh, I'll just call the boss, and they're like, fine, we'll just do it that way. Like,
Yeah.
they just, like, back down immediately. You're like, shut the hell up. Stop trying to make things easier for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't help, like, for a different job I had where it's like, I'm in my 20s, and then, like, there was one crew where it's like, they're guys in their 40s were, like, the foreman and supervisor, and they were, like, they thought they knew. They were also, like, they were used to doing oil pipelining, where the standards are get it in the ground, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then this is water pipelining, where the standards are drastically higher.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then...
We're talking drinking water pipelines?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it pretty much, they were doing, like, sewer pipelines and drink water, like, side by side. And then it was just, like, a bunch of different shit. And we'd be like, okay, the specification says the tolerance is, like, an inch. And then they would be off by half a meter, and they'd be like, that's close enough.
Holy fuck, I was gonna say like maybe a foot.
No.
But like a half meter,
So like
holy
18
fuck.
inches, and they'd be like, yeah, that's close. I'm like, no, that is not close.
That's a good 17 inches too far.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you have
Man.
an inch of tolerance, and you took 18 inches, and they're just like, yeah, that's close. And it's like, no, that is not close, because it's like.
Let's go back to our conversation last week. There's a big difference in inches.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if I was in your shoes, I would have been asking, like, gentlemen, did you understand the inch tolerance? And if they went yes, I'd be like, how big do you guys think your dicks are? Like,
Mine's a quarter inch.
God damn. Holy
I don't know.
shit.
Yeah, it was.
That's
so
great,
beautiful,
honestly.
man. Yeah, it was
Fucking
just-
a half meter.
Yeah, and they'd be like they also just like were like pretty much if you give them an inch, they take a mile kind of thing. And it's a saying, not in that actual regard, but like where it's like if you give them any leeway, they will take as much as they can. So it was just frustrating trying to like just tell them no or constantly. That was also the crew I was talking to you and your dad the other day where about surveying and how,
Oh yeah.
like where I would be doing offsets for them, still, like for where the pipeline should go.
Oh, you're those cunts in the middle of the intersection with the camera.
No, this was in the middle of nowhere. It didn't matter. But yeah, I would be one of
Well,
those.
yes, he's one of those guys,
Yeah.
but this isn't at that
But
time.
I was in the middle of the road. I was in the middle of nowhere on a So
in a field.
Yeah, in a field. So anyway, it would be like I would put like a center line, and then I would do an offset of like 8-10 meters or something like that, and then they would have to dig a trench out, so then the center line would be took out, and then they would also take off the offset, and then they would be like, we need bigger offsets, like 25-meter offsets, just so that it's out of our way. I'm like, that is useless. I'm like, this thing needs to be within an inch or two, and you're giving me a 25-meter offset. They're like, yeah, just put an alignment state, like as an alignment stake a meter back, so that they can be like, we'll line these stakes up and then just go along that line. I'm like, this is the biggest horse shit thing ever. I'm like, and they would just keep knocking over stakes, and then I remember my boss at the time. He's like, they had a meeting, and then I was telling him about this, and then he's just like, he was pretty much told the company, and he's like, if you guys keep knocking over stakes, you can hire your own surveyor to do it for you, and then he can be, because like I was doing multiple shit at the same time, so I couldn't be standing there with my GPS all the time going like, oh, it's right here. So like I had to do other shit. So if they were off or if they knocked over shit and didn't know where I wasn't there all the time to tell them this is where it is. So
the fact that you have to watch them like children at play, like it speaks leagues about their character.
Yeah. So and then like I had a chance. I got offered to like survey for the company I worked last year. They're like, do you want to survey? Surveying was fun. Like if I would just survey by myself and just being like survey whole area and then leave. I have no problem. But having to resurvey the same thing over and over infuriates the hell out of me. Like, literally.
They keep fucking up the same thing, right?
No, or they just knock over stakes over and over.
Fucking
like,
up the same thing,
yeah. Like, literally, there would be one area, like, back to where I was doing the clay fill. The operators did not give a shit about stakes. Like, literally, they were there every day to do the same stakes over and over for, like, 3 weeks straight. Where it's literally, like, oh, we got... And then, like, what I was doing, I needed the stakes to know where I was.
Yeah.
So pretty much by the end, I would use the GPS on my phone to just use the coordinates from that's where I was. Because I'd be like, because usually it's like, you have a stationing and you do like an offset. I'm like, oh, I'm 20 meters north of this station.
Yeah.
And then all the stakes are gone. It'd be like, And it was funny where
Like just gone or kicked over?
like in shattered pieces because they got ran over by
Fuck.
like a compactor like 8 times. So then they'd be like, it's just mush. So I'm like, I can't read that.
It's just dead.
Yeah. So then it would be like a 200-meter long thing, and there'd be a stake on each end, and then the guy would be like, yeah, that's close enough. I'd be like, no. I'm like, I'm not gonna pace out 100 meters every time I need to. So I would just either like be like, yeah, that's close to 50 meters away. That's right. That. But like, it didn't really, or I'd be like, it should matter. Or yeah,
It looks like
towards the end, I literally just used my phone and just been like, I had like a GPS coordinate, so I'd just be like, what's my GPS coordinates right now? Write that down. So I'd be like, negative 49.82367, and write like the whole thing, and then my boss would have to punch that in for everything to find the actual coordinates on our like stationing and stuff, and then put that into his report. So it'd be like, I'm like, that's easier than having to get down survey every 2 or every 10 minutes to
God.
like. I remember one time where I watched them, and there was literally like a row of stakes down the center of the grade, and this guy, there's hundreds of meters each side.
Yeah.
Runs straight over all of them. it's like you could move 5 meters that way, miss all of them, and be inconvenienced by 2 seconds.
No, I'm willing to bet the guy played a lot of like Grand Theft Auto, where like you have to hit all the pegs on the highway.
Okay, to be fair, that's a lot of fun, especially when you're going down and down.
If he was slaloming them and missing,
Yeah.
then I'd be
Oh,
like,
that'd be great.
then I'd be like, okay, kudos to you, sir. You're trying something. You're putting something doing. But he was just literally just
Put some
driving straight
flair
down.
on that.
Yeah, like if you're slaloming them and like trying to miss them and just failing, I'd be like, I at least respect this guy for doing this. But this guy was just like, I'm just running over all of them. I don't give a shit.
Well, you guys heard it from a potential city worker himself. Unless you love someone here, don't ever come here.
Stay away.
I'm certain that's not a local thing. That's a
It's a very typical case.
Yes.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, people.
yeah. People just care about what affects them, and if it doesn't affect them, they're just like, yeah. That's exactly what it is. It didn't affect.
Did you hear they upped Timmy's coffee prices by 10 cents the other day?
Yeah, did some people like throw chairs out the windows or what?
Riots in the streets, man.
Yeah.
Do people throw Timmy's at people?
Don't go to the Lage today. There's like a fucking riot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Probably.
People can't buy a large coffee with just a toonie these days. They have to bring a fucking dime.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So-
Anyways.
We should get on to the topic of today's...
Wunderbar!
yeah.
The Wunderwoman.
So, I don't know how you want to start this. But
I think we
I
could do
really gotta ask. I really gotta ask. How do you guys feel? Like, because there was a lot of, like, when Mac and I started the podcast to begin with, we discussed Marvel and DC, and I was very strong in saying how Wonder Woman was gonna be, well, actually, I said Justice League would be the saving grace. But Wonder Woman is their first step at trying to redeem themselves from where they are. And as we've discussed multiple times throughout the podcast, where it's like, they're not that bad, they're not reaching the bar of expectations, really. They're kind of dropping the ball in a lot of places, where, like, in Batman vs. Superman, in my opinion...
I don't think we need to go back into the history of...
Yeah,
like,
well,
we've gone over that in
I was
nauseam.
just going to say, like, they put a lot in it.
us talking
fall.
about DC makes you nauseous?
A little bit, apparently.
No, I think...
And actually, that actually is relevant because Wonder Woman is in that as well. And people have said after seeing Wonder Woman, if you go back and watch Batman v Superman, it makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. No,
So
I'm just saying...
bringing it up is relevant. Bringing it up is fucking relevant.
I'm just saying that we've done the whole history...
Yeah.
Well, I
of
know.
it, like
I
we did
agree.
last week.
I agree. I'm going to get a cup of water. Keep talking.
Yeah.
So, anyways, basically the idea is
I think we could start with just our general ideas of it, and then we'll do a spoiler warning bar, and then we'll go
sure.
deep. Go deep.
Deep in there.
Yeah.
Well, we could just put a potential spoiler warning in general, save ourselves.
Do you think I have the restraint to not talk about spoilers?
Okay, fine. We could,
Motherfucker, I was an alcoholic for 5 years. Do you think I can resist talking about something I enjoy?
okay, fine. We'll go blanket spoiler warning. You should watch it. It was
actually
it was
good.
pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think it is.
It's got its problems, but it's a huge step up compared.
Yeah. It.
In comparison to recent films, yes. It is definitely a step up. They did very well.
Yeah. So, Adrian, start with you.
I really enjoyed it. One factor that I know I mentioned this prior. However, one thing that did kind of sit a little weird for me is when that like final climactic fight where she's finally fighting the main villain there. It seems so much like an actual boss fight out of a video game. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, dodge these things. Oh, phase 2, dodge this. Like, do this. Oh, he's weak. Okay, final stage. Kill him! You know?
The tone and the theme of the movie just fell apart at the climax to me.
It really, but at the same time, like, when they had that potential, that, like, hidden thing where she thought she had accomplished her task, where she had finally plunged the sword through and she was done, she just thought everything was done. At that point in time, watching the movie, I sat there thinking to myself, if this is how they end it, I'm going to be so pissed.
But other movies have done that too, where it's like they...
No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, at that point in the movie, like, they really got me to that point where I was like, that's it. Like, they let it up in such a way where that felt like it was supposed to be the climax, and it just mustered up. Which is good, because it made the actual climax seem better.
But, like, me, I knew that wasn't it. Like, or, like, you knew that guy wasn't...
It's a modern-day comic book movie. We can't leave the theater without seeing a big CGI punch fest, okay?
Yeah. But, like, that was the thing that disappointed me, where it's like the final fight was by far the worst one out of all of them. Like, the one where they're in no man's land, that was a great action scene.
That was awesome.
Like, where she goes out and she's like, why aren't you guys going over there?
Yeah.
I'm going over there. And she's just like, bang, bang, deflect everything, and then jumps and punches through the bell tower. And, like, that was a sweet scene. Even, like, the scene where, like, when they're in London, and she's protecting, what's his name? Chris Pine there.
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Steve something. Yeah.
He's
so,
Chris Pine.
Yeah, so, like, even, like, even that thing had, like, good action, or, like, choreography, and, like, it was a good action scene. And then the final scene was just, like... It was lackluster. Like, like, that was kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, but, like, still, it's in the line of mistakes that have been made that is so minor relative to most. Like, I'd say, like, if you look at the last couple Iron Man movies, I would put that ahead of Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, like, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, where it's just couple little things like that, and then the big thing was the villains acting too cartoony.
Yeah.
Especially in the one scene where they were like, "Oh, let's throw the gas mask in."
Yeah.
The gas mask.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Jeez, spoiler much.
I was just gonna say,
blanket spoiler.
if I were to give you a visual on my enjoyment of the movie, it would look.
Hold that thought for one quick second. I just wanted to make one statement. Have we all noticed that now Chris Pine has joined a comic book universe? Yet he's not a hero. So we got Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Chris Pratt all playing major heroes in their comic book universes. Chris Pines comes in. I'm the side chick.
I don't think him being Chris.
No, I just thought that was funny because like
his name's Chris.
Yeah, because there's actually like there's an interview. No, there's an interview where like it was Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. They were sitting together, and it's like, can we just agree that Chris Pratt is the worst of all Chris's? And they like both went like, no, he's better than all of us. he's the best. So it's just like really funny that Chris Pines is now like in the like comic book universe, and like they won't bring him up because he's not part of the Marvel universe, and they'll just be like, no, he's the worst. Just no Chris Pines. But anyway.
He's forever gonna be Kirk in my eyes, man.
And I didn't really like the Star Trek reboots, so I don't know.
Different topic, but I mean, like him portraying Kirk he's a really good portrayal of Kirk. I felt.
He did do it. Like, I saw the first one. Like, I wasn't a fan of the movie, so I didn't really care for the second one. But, like, he did do well in the role, I agree.
That's an entirely different topic altogether.
Sorry. I just wanted to bring up the Chris Pines thing.
Yeah. If I were to give you a visual on my enjoyment of the movie, it would be shaped very similarly to a bell graph. Where the beginning was...
Bring it back to the bell curve.
Yeah, I know. I talk about bell curves a lot.
I do like bell curves.
Yeah. It's a very sexy shape.
That's my favorite kind of curve.
No. I had a lot of...
All the meat in the middle.
I had a lot of nitpicky problems with the movie. But the biggest deterrents for me were the beginning of the movie, right up until they left the island, was so rushed. Like, scenes just happened. They kept going.
There was like the montage thing.
There was no time to establish care for any of the characters. I don't even remember the woman's name who trains Diana. I don't remember her mother's name.
No, well, actually, I don't really know. I think they mentioned it once or twice, but like
They mentioned it several times.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it was like
I
Artorias or something.
I didn't care about her character. Like she's like a young kid. She goes, "I want to be a combat girl. I want to be a warrior," you know? And then she's just training in the background, and then stuff just kind of keeps happening. It just keeps going. There's no time.
progresses.
There's no time to linger on who these people are, though.
I felt it kind of similar to like Bruce Wayne's parents kind of thing, where it's
Yeah.
just like they're part of the backstory. They died.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's different degrees. Like in the comics, they were actually like major characters. Were like Martha Wayne and whatever his dad's name was. Thomas Wayne.
Wayne, yeah.
Yeah, like they died. That
Yeah.
was pretty much their
That's
backstory.
yeah, the entire point of their characters.
Yeah,
They
where
die.
it's like I kind of felt like they got the same treatment, where the point of their character was to die.
Yeah.
And
I get that, but what I mean to say is, like, you don't think it would help Diana as a character to show her mourning a little bit when this person who's been training her since childhood
yeah,
takes an arrow in the first, big combat she's ever experienced. This person dies who's apparently like an auntie to her. And
Yeah.
then she just dies in one scene, and then the next it's like brushed off like it never fucking happened.
next is like now I'm gonna go punch a wall and climb
Yeah.
a building.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna have a goofy scene. The very next scene after the woman dies is the trial scene with Chris Pine, and it's played off for comedy. There's like among it being rushed, to me, there was a lot of like tone issues in the first, I guess I would say third of the movie.
Yeah.
I did appreciate how as soon as Chris Pine got, in the movie, things started kind of kicking up a little bit. But immediately after that, there was like a tonal problem that I had with it, amongst it being, egregiously dark thanks to the projectionist at the theater we were at.
Yeah, I think that was more the problem than the actual movie.
I don't think that was the movie's fault. And,
Yeah.
I mean, that being out of its own problem, it's just everything in that first third felt so fucking rushed. And then as soon as they got to London, I started enjoying it a lot more.
Yeah.
It started becoming more plucky comedy almost, with serious tones in it.
Yeah.
And then right towards the end, my enjoyment started going down again. Like Chris Pratt's character death. Yeah, spoiler, he fucking dies. You guys, you came into this knowing about spoilers.
I like how Chris Pratt's now in this movie.
Chris Pine. Sorry. They all blend together.
Pratt's in this movie.
They're hunky white male leads. They all blend together to me.
He's not a male lead. He's a side male.
Regardless, the end of the movie, my enjoyment kind of fell off a little bit. It was just a big CGI punch fest, and I get it's boring.
Well, yeah, because that idea is overdone. Like, look at, as much as I hate to bring it up, Batman v Superman. That last fight scene with Doomsday, that's all CGI for the most part.
Yep.
So, I understand that, and it's a rinse and repeat thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's easier to do. It's hard to, you gotta get, stunt teams and stuff to, try and pull off that stuff properly.
I felt like this one was particularly bad because the fact that it exists in the movie kind of kills off some character development for Diana, where she could have learned about how humans are just intrinsically bad people of sorts, and just deal with trying to help them become better as a character trait. And then as that potential lead was developing, they just brushed it off as no, Ares was actually the other guy, and he was helping people be evil the whole time. And then when he dies, they're good again. You brought this up after we left the theater.
That's at least how it's seen. You guys both kind of argued that point by stating the fact that
it was weird to me.
The higher in command is gone, so they're kind of
I don't think it was to that
fighting
degree where all of a
anymore.
sudden people were happy. I think it was just in that point. I don't think Ares' control over everyone was as prominent as she thought.
Yeah.
I think they did a poor job.
They didn't explain that.
They
very
didn't
well,
explain,
no.
or I think the way that Ares explains it before he dies, where he's saying where people are inherently bad, and they don't need me, kind of thing, to make them go to war. They want to do that on their own.
I just gave him the weapons.
Yeah, where he's pretty much he was just the whisper in their ear saying, here, you should make this the mustard gas.
His whole argument was super flawed.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. I found myself like when he brought that up, I found myself in agreement with you that they were probably smiling because they were just glad to be alive.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, that's probably what they're happy about. But when you're watching the movie, they smile immediately after what's his face gets killed, and
They filmed it as if it was him
Yeah.
that was controlling them.
like just scene to scene progression, it looked as if they were smiling because they just got released from the evil demon guy's control, and it didn't feel good as a climax to me, you know?
Which was my initial point that I was
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
make.
I don't know. I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. That's why we discuss it like this. Is we all have different views and takes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I viewed originally. Was that is the way, like he said, the way the scenes meshed together. It looked like basically right after the guy died, it panned straight to the army guys, and they're taking off their masks with that glee of, like, thank God, you know, I don't have to fight anymore. I'm good. I'm happy. Life can blah 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 whatever.
Yeah.
So it really that's why it came off that way. Like I'm certain like it's clearly that's not the case because Wonder Woman would have literally no storyline after that. If Ares is dead, there's literally no bad guys then. Because if he's controlling them to be bad, there's no bad guys if he's dead. So Wonder Woman just needs to sit on a rock and go, I'm done.
That's another bit of confusion for me was that it was him whispering in people's ears to do bad things, and him apparently his point was proven that him telling them to do bad things and then them doing those bad things proves that they're the evil ones.
No, it wasn't him telling them to do bad things. It's like, this is how to do it. Where he's like, this is how to make the mustard gas properly. Rah, rah, rah. And then she's like, I should make that.
Yeah, it's basically like it's basically like giving somebody a gun and bullets and kind of going like, you know, you can use this if you want. Here's how and everything, and leaving the room. And then if they shoot somebody, going, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Similar concept.
Yeah.
Clearly, like my example is kind of off.
It would be
far,
more, this is how to get a gun.
but- Okay, yeah, and then just blatantly going on.
I don't know, his whole motivation and just the fact that he existed as a character really confused me. Because it's like, okay, he's apparently in Diana's eyes the root of all evil in the world.
Yeah.
Which obviously can't be the case because, as we've already established, she's a character in the future fighting other evil things.
Yeah.
So what is the point of this guy as a character, you know?
Yeah.
He's just evil incarnate? Well, that can't be true.
Well, I think it's just, he is he is evil, like uppercase E evil kind of thing, where it's not evil incarnate, but where it's like just as much a major villain as any other villain in any other thing, where it's like.
Well, I mean, even his existence is conflicting with the rest of the other cinematic universe characters.
Yeah.
Because we established that men came from Zeus here, and that would be all cool if Ares didn't exist as a character, thereby proving this is just a story that her mother told her as a daughter, you know, as a young child to go to bed. It's a bedtime story.
Yeah.
If he didn't exist, that would make sense, but the fact that Ares exists proves that there's gods, and Zeus made the people, and if Zeus made the people, that means Ares actually is the root of all evil in the world, and him dying should have stopped evil being in the world.
No.
That's how I felt about it.
Oh, that's how you felt. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree to that, and I understand what you're getting at. Like,
Yeah,
I felt the same way. But, like, Diana herself is a god, or a demigod, I should say, because it's like, she's a god in one sense, but she's also part clay, so I don't know how that would qualify exactly.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the way it could be really is, like, with Mac, the way Mac kind of, like, twisted my thought on this, because, like I said, I agreed with your thought, and that's how I thought about it. And thinking of Mac's way, like, it could, like, your bedtime story idea is a good twist on it. It's just like playing the game telephone, right? The story gets passed down, eventually it gets twisted and changed, and, like, it becomes something that, where the meaning behind it isn't as great as it seems, where it's like, he's the root of all evil, where that couldn't be it. It could just be the fact that, like, he liked leading wars, or, like, he liked instigating them. So he liked basically poking the bear to do evil, because the evil's basically there. It's like having lighter fluid and just having a match, right? You just gotta light it and it goes. Yeah. So, like, he just kind of lit the match of going, here's how to, like, take over. Here's your spark. Here's the way to light it. have fun.
In all honesty, I'm probably reading way too much into it.
Oh,
I think that's exactly it.
I just I was stewing on it for so long, and that was the conclusion.
I think that's the problem is or it's like, I had no problem suspending my disbelief for the whole movie, which has been the first one, or except for the one scene, which I just put in
We'll get
the gas
to that
mask
scene in just a minute.
Okay,
yeah.
but anyway, I'm saying like all the other DC movies, I'm like, for major plot points, I was just like, that makes no sense, or it's like it got past that threshold of disbelief, where like all the other ones, it's like it's past that before or throughout the main story.
Your suspension of disbelief can only go so far.
Yeah, but like this movie was the first one where it's like, through the movie, I believe, like, I want to believe it, and I did believe everything was feasible.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's like obviously what's his name, the evil guy.
Ares or
Ares.
Okay.
Ares, yeah, like where his thing was, obviously, it wasn't 100%, but it's like, it was good enough. Where it's just, I'm not expecting them to be able to withhold the plethora of people using the interwebs to find every single flaw that they could think of, because it's DC and DC makes shit, therefore we have to make sure it is shit.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, yeah, you're gonna find flaws, but if you go through every Marvel movie, you'll be able to find similar flaws.
Well, I'm not comparing it to Marvel.
No, I'm just saying where that's where I kind of feel like I need to defend it, because people are just waiting to shit on it.
Yeah. No,
where
I
it's
agree
just
with
like,
that,
yeah, it's gonna have flaws, just like every other popcorn movie, which this is. This isn't 100%. This is gonna be an accurate, serious film. This is a popcorn summer movie. That's exactly what all of these comic book movies are. They are movies to entertain you for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're a distraction.
They're a distraction. Like they're not meant to stew over for weeks on end and talk about the greater meaning of what Wonder Woman means in our society. It's like, sure, there was a thing about how women can be...
Oh, don't get me wrong. When I'm explaining my problem with Ares, I actually legitimately really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I know.
I just have a lot of nitpicks with it.
Yeah, like people just take it and be like, oh, there was mistakes with it. Well,
Speaking of mistakes, let's get to that scene, McAvoy.
Yeah. Hold on. Before we get to the one scene that I know you guys are gonna like destroy and like really just like you're gonna poke it and you're gonna like kick it and you're gonna kill it and then you're gonna kick it again. So we can all mutually agree Wonder Woman was a good movie.
No. Don't conclude it now, because then they can stop listening.
No. We save the conclusion when we're done talking about the movie.
Yeah.
All right, have fun with this one.
Don't give them even more reasons to stop listening.
Yeah. You're just giving them reason to turn it off and be like, done.
Yeah, I got
Fine.
Okay.
But then they don't get the dessert if you leave that. They know that there's something else.
We don't want no
that might be
after
better.
credit scenes.
No after credit scenes.
That is the credits. We don't want the credits and then another scene about that. So the one scene I was talking about was where the Dr. Poison and the German Ludendorff.
Yeah.
I actually forgot his name.
Yeah, I knew it started with an L. But they, the big German heads were all saying, you don't need war. War is...
Nazis agreeing that war is bad. They're
They're
going
Nazis.
to lose
This
war.
is World War I, not II.
Yeah, they wouldn't be. Hey?
They wouldn't
they're
be
just
Nazis.
the Axis. Hey?
No. Yeah, they were...
Yeah.
Yeah, no Nazis.
Yeah, Nazis not.
Yeah, so anyway, they were all saying how we didn't need to continue the war, and then Dr. Lutenberg, or whatever his name, Gutenberg.
Ludendorff.
Yeah.
Good burger.
Good burger. Wants war, and he's like, we need it, and then decides to poison them all with the mustard gas or whatever it is, and then he throws in a gas mask, which they know does nothing.
Yeah.
And then they do a little... Oh.
Well, Dr. Poison says to him, you know that won't help them. And then Ludendorff says to her, yeah, but they don't know that. And then they both simultaneously... Yeah. And it's like, oh my god. Like, I was explaining this to Mac here before we started, but who thought that was the best line? Like, that was the best take they could do? Like, and again, I agree with Mac that scene was so stick-out bad to me, but I kind of... I had context to appreciate a little bit more as the movie went on.
Yeah.
Because that on its own was such a juxtaposition from like a kind of semi-serious tone that they were going with.
Yeah.
And then it jumped into straight comic book ham.
Yeah.
And as the movie kind of went on, they did a little bit more of that. I felt like, okay, they were doing that intentionally. And then by the end of it, I still don't know whether I like that scene or not. I still don't know. You know?
I'm still curious if I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for like the little snicker because like yes it really pandered to like that as we compared it to Team Rocket from Pokemon there, like it really hit that like a very poor humor where it's like you're like really blatantly poking somebody in the shoulder, be like, get it?
Because they're bad guys,
funny.
get it?
Ha ha, yeah. But like at the same time, like because the rest of it wasn't so much like that, and it had its serious tones, but it had its comedy in sense. It just kind of seemed like something that like a kid watching it would understand, where they would be like, "Oh, but it's not gonna work," you know what I mean? So like it seems different in that sense, so the kids can tell it's more of a villain. Because you gotta understand, like with comic book movies, they're gonna make it for fans of all ages, but they also gotta stick to having it for children to understand certain things. And some
what
jokes.
was this movie rated though?
PG.
PG?
Yeah.
That would make sense. Got to maximize those profits. Eh?
Well, exactly, right? And that's the whole thing is you like that's why with the whole Chris Pine scene when they catch him in the bath or when Wonder Woman comes and catches him in the bath or whatever and like the little subtle jokes that like adults would catch but children
I'm
won't.
above average.
Yes, I'm above average is the one statement he made.
Yeah, but like my point about that was like they could have made it. They could have done everything the same except not have the laugh at the end. It would have made the exact same thing. It would not have been cartoon villain.
Yeah.
They could have
the laugh really punctuated.
They could have been like he could have thrown the mask in, and then she'd be like, "Oh,
you know that won't help.
You know that won't work," and he'd be like, "I know," and then end scene.
Or even better, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
Don't laugh and just move the characters away.
Yeah, like don't, and then with straight serious face, be like, "But they don't know that," and then end scene. It made the same thing except the whole.
That laugh was
that whole laugh was just.
It was
like,
the punctuation.
Yeah.
That was the nail in the coffin of terrible.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just like that's right away. I was just like, that is Jesse and James of Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Going around and being like, ha ha ha.
Yeah,
like,
it was that scene stuck out so much to me.
Yeah, where you're right. It did kind of set up the second where they kind of did more comic-y.
Yep.
But they didn't have to go straight to 10. Like they
could have warmed up a little bit, you know, turn that knob from point to point.
Like it was pretty. It wasn't serious. I'm not saying, but like they didn't go to that extreme. Like they were kind of building up to the end, but then it was just like 1, 1, 1, 10, 3, 2. 4. It was just like
they flash boiled the comic.
Yeah, and then it was just like that one scene kind of just jarred. It was so jarring at that point.
Yeah.
Where it was like if you want to make someone like. If you wanted to put a similar type thing at the very end, it wouldn't have been as jarring to me. But it was like, it was probably like 2/3 through the movie or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it was getting close, but like still, it was just so out of nowhere. It just struck me off guard, and I was just thrown back.
They could have just shown them throwing the grenade in and then being done with the scene, and it still would have had the same impact. Like just for the story.
I think it would have been a good scene if they just didn't laugh. Like where it was like, but they don't know that with a straight face, and then where it's like, oh, these guys.
That particular scene, I remember saying to myself in the theater, after that was done, I was sitting there, I was going, what the fuck was that? Like, completely like out of nowhere from the rest of the movie, you know? I can't tell if that was intentional or not, you know? I still don't know.
We may never know.
Yeah, that one. It just
one of the mysteries that will die with Wonder Woman's.
There was another thing that bugged me in the movie too regarding that gas.
Yeah.
They clearly show it melting the mask.
But when it's sitting in the thing, it's not doing that.
No, when they bomb that village, she walks in and there's just dead people, but their skin and their bodies are fine.
Oh, actually, you got a valid point.
Yeah, they clearly show the gas melting the mask in the test chamber.
Yeah.
But she walks in, there's just like people laying on the ground pretending to be dead, you know?
Yeah, you'd have to get the PG-13 if you were to...
Gotta maximize those profits, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. The movie, it was good, but it was still... I had a lot of problems with it, you know?
Okay, well, fine. Would you say it's the step in the right direction?
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
DC?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
If I were to compare that directly to Man of Steel and BVS, this is definitely on an uphill slope, you know?
I definitely do agree with you there too. Like I guess I'm not as much of a stickler for it. Like I agree it is a good movie. It does have its flaws. It does have its like little things you'll nitpick. Like we all have our own little quirks that we dislike about it. But however, like it's still a good movie. Like if someone if I was to see it again, like I wouldn't have an issue with it. So like I'm all for it.
I would just watch it because Gal Gadot's smoking hot in that movie.
Yeah.
She really is.
Yeah, like even more so than I would have expected. Like I was jokingly saying
she's an attractive woman to begin with, but like
I always thought her forehead was a bit big.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, don't worry, she has a crown on it now.
I was gonna say she
Cuts
has
it
a
down.
headband on. So
I
she
was
didn't-
actually thinking that when I saw her grab the
Exact same
crown.
thought, yeah.
I was thinking of that. I was like, she has a big forehead, but that won't be a problem. She's putting a tiara on it. It's kind of bringing her hairline down a little bit. But by God, man, like this whole movie was like filled with glamour shots of Gal Gadot.
Oh,
know?
it totally was.
Like the scene where they're dressing her up. That was another thing that struck me a little bit weird in this movie, was how on the nose the plucky humor, quote unquote, parts were. Like,
whoosh whoosh, mother.
yeah, whoosh whoosh. Yeah, I was doing air quotes. They used a soundtrack, like a song, when she's trying on outfits that went like bum 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 bum, and it was like so stereotypically like plucky humor is happening right now, you know?
Yeah, one step away from circus music.
Yeah. Like,
or
I don't.
that what's that other music where it's like usually like the slapstick like Three Stooges type
Yeah.
comedy where it's like that. I forget what that song is called, or I don't remember.
Yakety sax.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one where it's just like things are gonna go wacky. And
Yeah,
it's just,
that's stereotypical soundtrack. I don't know if that was. I'm still super confused about one thing about this movie. I don't know if it was intentionally played to be so much more comic booky than the other stuff that they've come out with, because it really felt like that.
I think they were trying to do more like the Christopher Nolan trilogy,
Yeah.
where the last couple where they were trying to go super dark with it.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of I think even what's it called? The last one, the one with
Dark
like
Knight Rises.
no with like Will Smith and Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Like that one, they kind of took a step back,
Yeah.
and then this one they did as well.
I
where
just
they-
it was, I don't know, the tonal issues were a big thing, but
yeah, they weren't very consistent,
yeah.
but it was like if they want to go comic booky, like
I'm all for it.
as long as they just go 2 feet or jump on
Yeah.
do it.
Don't struggle with it. Don't walk the line, man.
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
all over. You
Yeah,
know?
don't just like half-ass it. Just go for it.
Because I thinking about it and my thoughts on it, I'm unclear on a lot of things about the movie, whether like certain things were done intentionally or whether they were just bad. You know?
Were they bad on purpose or just bad?
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Yeah. I mean, right down to the character of Ares having a mustache when he gets stricken down from like the heavens. Like I was explaining to our friend Neil there on our way back.
Nail bark.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been better if he was stricken down and he was, on the ground looking up at the lightning sky and he had like a full beard or something, or he was clean shaven, but no, he looked like a goofy British man from like right from the get-go. Like this, we're talking the invention of humans according to the lore they've established here. That Ares has been on the earth looking like a goofy pompous British man, and he's just been kind of coexisting. How coincidental that the age that he does become relevant again happens to be pompy British mustaches are in style.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So what's your take on the movie, Mac? Brendan kind of jumped in, bitching about something else again.
Come back to me. I need to think of.
Well, I will regale to him while you formulate your opinion on that amazing red herring that they did with Ares. One thing that they did really well with this, and I was explaining to him, this goes back to my problem with Tenet a few podcasts ago. You remember the tongue thing that I had a huge problem with? This movie did one so well that on a second viewing would contextualize a lot of things. In Gal Gadot's entrance to the room where the higher up British dudes are talking about their plans, you remember Professor Lupin there is addressing the older men, and when Chris Pine and Gal Gadot walk in, he stops what he's doing and he's choking words out as he's regaling his plans, and he kind of trails off a bit like that. And he explains to them after that he was he was thankful that she walked in so he can get a few words in from their rabble, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't him getting a few words in. Being that you find out later he's Aries,
Yeah.
it recontextualizes that scene that he in fact wasn't surprised at them being quiet or that a gorgeous woman walked in. Him, Aries, recognizes Diana walking into the room and actually realizes, okay, that is an Amazonian. Things are going to start happening now. And that really was amazingly done, in my opinion.
That does explain why he automatically
why he helps them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why he ends up. Yeah. Actually, that puts a lot more into perspective. And like, I never really thought so. Like, after seeing it, like I thought back a bit to that much, but not to that degree. Like I was thinking back, it's like okay, that understand like it makes sense why he helped them out is because he knew like. So that they would be coming type thing. They knew that they were trying to foil the plan. Well, and he was like kind of like the secret mastermind behind it.
I don't think he knew they were coming. I think that's why he got so surprised when Diana walks in the room.
Well, no, what I mean is like when he walked, like I mean after that, like
when
he helps them when he helps them out, he knows they're coming. So like he basically is like, I'll try throwing everybody else under the bus beforehand and see how far I can get, and hopefully it'll delay them.
Yeah. Of all the things that I had a problem with this movie, that is by far one of my favorites. Is that that was the best way to do a red herring, because on a repeated watch, you pick up on that immediately. You're like, okay, he is Aries. Oh my god, he recognizes her. That's why he stops. And that is really cool, I think, you know?
Did you already go back and see it? It's been 3 days since we've been.
No, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking about how pretty Gal Gadot is.
Yeah, just staring into the mirror, writing your name in the book.
She definitely is. She definitely is a wonder. No.
Yeah. My rating is 3 knocked arrows at once out of 4. Yes.
I just like that.
Yes.
Good answer.
I agree to this. This is my final answer.
Like, 3 out of 4.
So you would recommend it?
I would recommend it. Yeah. It's good. It's a summer movie popcorn flick.
Yeah.
Don't go in hoping for.
It's obviously a step above like the Fast and Furious and XXX and nonsense like that.
Oh, definitely.
But it's still
a summer
a summer
through and through,
popcorn flick.
Yeah. If you had to quantify your opinion?
If I had to quantify my opinion, well, how do I beat 3 notches out of 4?
I'll just put a fucking numerical value to it.
How many lassos of truth does it deserve?
Lassos of truth. Well, it depends. How much lies is it spitting?
Out of 5.
Out of 5? Lasso's a good thing or a bad thing?
They're good.
Oh.
Obviously, lassos of truth, they're a good thing. Come on, let's be serious here.
I'd go with
fucking spit it out.
4 lassos out of 5, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it's pretty high up there. It's not like cream of the crop. It's not like tippy top good, but like it's pretty close to that. Like it's up there.
Honestly, for myself, I think to put a number to it, out of like say like 10, for example, or 100, it'd be closer to like a 7.5 maybe. It's good, but it's still like there's a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, like they still got stuff to improve on, but like they've made a good step ahead already.
Mm-hmm. Like you have to excuse a lot of it when you're going into it. Don't overthink stuff, or else you'll have a lot more issues like I did. Yeah. And pay the fuck attention in that first third, because things happen fast.
Yeah, I've had that problem in the past where I just failed to suspend my disbelief. And it's really made me dislike different movies. Like, for instance, Looper. I could not get over their time traveling. And I just, was fuming of how bad their excuse of time travel was that I couldn't get past it. And
it's super inconsistent.
It's super... And it just, like, the point where the guy's driving and they're, like, cutting off his foot. And then all of a sudden he's like, I can't put down the pedal. And it's like, that's not how time travel works. It's not like all of a sudden...
No, you would always have known that you lost a foot.
He's not going to all of a sudden be driving and be like, oh, I don't have a foot anymore.
Yeah.
I can't step on the pedal. I'm like, this doesn't make...
I know, I completely agree with that. If I lost my left hand all of a sudden, I wouldn't go, oh, someone's messing with my past self, you know?
You wouldn't, like, right when you're grabbing for a cup, all of a sudden your hand's gone and you just smash it and knock it over.
No, you would have gone through life with the experience of not having that hand.
Yeah, so, like, that's... I've tried to do that more and more, where I just don't try to analyze it in the movie.
Yeah.
And that would be like, this would be a movie where it wasn't so far off that I could feasibly understand what everyone was doing during the movie.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
it's like, and without being like, barring the one scene which I cut that off because it's
Boy,
like,
does that scene really fucking stick out, doesn't it?
yeah, and it's also a thing where it's like, it's not a major plot point. It's just a one scene kind of out of nowhere. It's just a one-off.
It's for flavor.
Yeah, and it's just like, if it was like the major story arc of a character, but it's like it doesn't matter. It's like, but everything else it made sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, if I'm gonna analyze everything, I'll find plot holes. But I'm just in the theater. I was going out to it, enjoying the movie, and that's all I asked.
Yeah,
And it
have
kept
to
my
say,
attention for the 2 hours 20 minutes or whatever it was.
I enjoyed it, definitely. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If anything, somebody should take away from my opinion of it, it's enjoyable. Super enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's fun. I'm gonna take a quick run to the
Well,
empty the wine
actually,
sack.
I think.
I want to close out with something very specific. Yeah.
He's got a very.
We're gonna talk about feminist controversy.
Yo, actually, if we're doing that right after Wonder Woman, I got something really funny to tell you. Okay?
Keep gasping. Keep it going.
Keep gasping, boy.
You've been going 20 minutes. Come on.
Anyway. Okay, well, before you get on your feminism thing, because I did see a post about this, there was someone bitching about Wonder Woman and when is she going to get a modern twist? Because, like, Thor got that female spin, and then, like, Peter Parker was now, like, black. Like, they're changing them all. So, like, when are we going to get, like, a black, hairy-ass, like, Wonder Woman or something like that? And, like, they're, like, throwing all these little twists and how, like, they have to change her and all this stuff.
What are people arguing for, a fat black transvestite Wonder Woman?
Yeah, pretty close. It's basically what they're bitching about. Like, at that rate, man, make her a fucking guy. You just turned Thor into a woman.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Lasso.
Make a whole Justice League of boys.
I'll give you the lasso of truth.
Fuck. Anyways, go on with your feminism colony.
No. I was gonna talk about the Alamo Drafthouse Theater issue that some people are bringing up about the all-woman screening. If you guys have heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh, we're discussing this. How about an all-male screening for Star Wars? Did you see that too?
I haven't seen that yet.
No. That was the petition going around afterwards because people were complaining that Wonder Woman got an all-woman review.
What is your opinion on this?
Okay.
You don't really care? No?
Well, like, the way it is like, okay, I kind of understand it. Wonder Woman is the first solo female movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know
Comic book movie.
Comic book movie, yes, you're right. I apologize. But so they wanted to see how women would take it, because this is going to come off very sexist, and I know it. Women are very fickle. You can easily upset them, and it makes it very difficult, especially for a movie of this magnitude. A reason it had a lot of troubles to come out to begin with, like even being thought of as a script, took so long because it's so hard to keep everybody happy. Because if you stick to the comic books too much, people will be like, well, I can't relate, I don't understand it, like, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But if you pander too much, because like with Wonder Woman especially, her regular costume, as you can see in the 80s, 80s TV show and stuff, she doesn't wear a hell of a lot. She wears like a crop top and like some booty ass shorts, and that's about it.
Yeah. As for the making of the film, I agree with you. There was trouble actually, very specifically about pitching the script for her own movie.
Yeah. But also saying like women are fickle. Just at this argument, you can see how small men feel, where they're just like, "There's no women's show. How come
that's exactly
flip
it.
tables, Star Wars."
It goes back and forth either way. Like Wonder Woman had a thing because like women could argue that there's too much skin showing. You're making her look too slutty. That's not right. All this argument.
That's not what the controversy is about.
No. Like that's an issue they had. But then if they put too much on her, like put too much armor or whatever the case was to try and put more clothes on her, you're losing the authenticity of the character, right? So like they found a good like the one piece that at least with that it looks like that she does wear and it works. Like she has like a little skirt type thing that looks like generic gladiator style armor that covers her lower half there, so it doesn't just look like she's wearing little booty ass shorts. Like you can still see them underneath, but she has something kind of covering it. So they had that argument where it's very hard to pander to either or, because you have the women who can argue about the feminism behind it, how it's objectifying women and all these things, when that's not intentionally the fact. They're trying to just stay true to the material.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the all-female viewing, though. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, I understand this.
Yeah. Okay.
You asked my opinion of it, and I was just explaining the issue why it had trouble starting the filming, which is what I discussed.
No, he asked your opinion about this
The
topic, and then he
all-female
went to a
viewing.
different topic.
Yeah, the all-female viewing specifically.
Yes, I know, but I said part of the reason why of that also stems from the beginning of why it struggled to come into viewing. There's a lot. That's why they showed the all-women viewing, is to get that women perspective of the movie. Because if they're going to get women who are going to sit there and be like, no, I'm not going to see this. Why would I tell one of my friends to see this? I can't relate to the character. I find it's like objectifying women, whatever the case may be. They can hold that argument and that'll drop the movie's viewings immediately. Guys are going to see this movie automatically for the comic book reason. If it's not that, they're going because they want to see Gal Gadot. Right? That's an easy sell. Why the hell do they have to get guys to come and do this viewing? They're obviously going to see it no matter what. Maybe not the first day it comes out, but that's my point. When it comes to women, they're going to be a bit more skeptical. It's harder to appeal to women with some movie genres. And some comic book movies don't appeal. Like, yeah, you'll get those people who will see a Batman movie because Batman's been around forever, and that's just a thing, right? But that doesn't mean they're going to see Man of Steel. They might not like or even want to see that. It's like Deadpool even states in the beginning of his movie, because he released it on Valentine's Day and everything. It's like the whole thing of my boyfriend told me this was like a love movie, but this guy just killed somebody. Like, that's just it. It's the whole idea of those style movies don't appeal to women. That's the automatic thought. At least in the movie industry, that's how they play it off. So their safety blanket, so to speak, was an all-female viewing to make sure they can pass that. And that women can walk out of there being like, man, this is a movie I enjoy. This is a movie I can get behind and
Wait.
explain.
Wait.
Who do you think did the female viewing?
What do you mean? I don't know who set it up.
It had nothing to do with Wonder Woman movie. It was a theater chain that does a lot of like features where they're like.
Okay, well that wasn't explained. Like I don't know much about it other than there was an all-female viewing.
It literally had zero stock in the Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
That's why like we're saying like.
Then it was just news. Someone just did it for the sole fact of stirring up drama. Look, it made news.
Can we?
That's the whole point.
No, Alamo does a lot of features. That's what they do. Like they would be like, we're doing Back to the Future Day, where it's like they show 3 in a row, and then they just do a lot of like niche things that are like they. Apparently, it's like one of the best like theater experiences around, where it's like they just do such a good job of like showing movies and like they're really serious, where like they'll kick you out if you're talking and shit like that.
Theater you actually want to go.
Yeah, where it's like they are like the pristine theater, so they just do a bunch of shit to be like, oh, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger night, and then they show Predator and Terminator and whatever, and then it's like this is just another niche thing where it's like it's a woman superhero, the first one. So we're doing an all-women's showing of the movie. So
what is your opinion then?
I think go for it. Like I think that was a great idea. Like,
do you think it warranted all the backlash it got?
I don't think anything warrants the backlash of the internet, where it's just like people are just making a fuss out of it because they want to make a fuss out of it and be like, why am I not included in this one exact showtime that I can see literally hundreds
you know
in the exact same theater, just not at that one time.
My opinion, I kind of agree somewhat with the people that would be outraged because, not to the nth degree that they view that this is a fucking travesty on men's rights, as some people put it.
Yeah, that was horrible.
I feel that, yes, if you do flip the genders in any situation, if it doesn't sound fair that way, then it shouldn't be the other way, you know? There's a lot of issues that could be...
I think if it was like, I'm trying to think, if it's a genre that is majority of the time is, or obviously where it's like, this is the only main female comic book movie.
Yeah.
If there's a genre that was all women as the main, and then there was one movie with a male lead, and they had a men's viewing of that, I would see it, but I can't think of a genre that would fit that kind of thing. Where it's like, it's just a thing where this is such an oddity in this scene.
Yeah.
That it is a story.
I'm not saying they shouldn't do it.
No, I'm just saying where it's
I'm saying I can understand why some people are angry about
it. I can see why they're angry, but I think where it's like, the difference between like... I can see why it's like, why can't it be the other way, but it's like, why does it have to be?
I'm of the same general opinion regarding this as I would be of like a club having Wednesday nights women get in without cover charge. You know, it's
You mean a bunch of places that actually do that shit?
yeah, like it's just they're gonna do it. It's not a huge fucking deal. You know, people are gonna get upset over it. And it's like I can understand it. You know?
I think that's a different bar because
I'm just saying my opinion of it.
yeah,
is
yeah.
similar.
I'm saying, but like my point would be like, it's not. Was it cheaper, or anything?
Yeah, are they getting a cheaper price?
Like
I
we're
don't really
we're
know.
like I don't think it was any benefit to them, really, that they could go to that showing. Other than it was just like
people are
it's
just
fun.
getting upset for the sake of being upset.
Yeah,
about
where
it,
it's like if it was something where we're doing free women's night where all women can come in free to this movie,
yeah,
then I could see it being upset.
Yeah.
But if it's just we're doing one showtime out of 100 that we're just doing all women because it's Wonder Woman, we're doing an all women's night.
Yeah.
Then go the next day.
So the bottom line, it's fucking stupid that people get this upset about it.
Or
it made news.
If it's human rights, say how it affected you.
Yeah.
Did it affect you because you wanted to go to that theater and you had to go a block down the road because that theater had one night, one showtime be all women, and you had to go to the one a mile the other way to go to the other theater that had...
See, but wasn't this like a previewing? Like this was before the movie was actually out?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because since the movie only came out last Friday, and this thing's been going on for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
But it was more the thought of it, like they were promoting it.
No, I thought this actually they actually did this all female viewing, which was which is why everyone's bitching.
No, but I'm saying that
because like if it didn't happen, who cares?
No,
which would mean it would have had to have happened, which means it would have been a pre-screening that was strictly all women, which is then taking out of the fact of making it fair to everybody. It is, unless you are a female specifically, you can catch this pre-screen. If that's the case, then I'm siding more with the people have a right to be pissed off, because that should be something fair to everyone. Do I understand the reason why they would do a strict female one? 110%. But the simple fact is, yes, in all genres, they're meant to pander to both male and female. Yes, when acting and all that stuff, because of how everything kind of started, women were oppressed and everything at the beginning of it all. Things are pretty on par now, just due to the fact of there aren't many female comic book characters that are in the spotlight and relevant enough to get a wide fan base as everyone else does, like Batman does or Spider-Man and stuff. They have those big fan bases because they're known by everybody because they repeat the same thing. They repeat the cartoon, they repeat the movies, whatever the case may be. So that's where it kind of it kind of seems like they're on the lower side of the bucket in that sense, but it's all fair in the long run. It's just sadly things haven't come up very feminine as much as it should have.
From what I can see, it was not before the regular screening.
Okay, so at least we know that.
I saw it said it was from this Sunday.
Even
a Sunday afternoon screening.
Okay, then if it was this past Sunday or something like that and the movie's already been out, then people can shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Yeah.
Catch a different viewer.
It was all because they were saying they were going to do it, and then they'd say, why would you do it, blah, 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 blah.
See, in that case, since they didn't actually do it, for me, they did do it.
Oh, good for them, honestly.
Okay, well, if they were, even if they were promoting it ahead of time, all the backlash and stuff they did get for it would have been partially promotion-wise.
Well, that's the thing.
They could benefit off that promotion because people will bitch about it. Think about it. You say this is a specific theater that does stuff like this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until now, I've never heard of a single theater that's ever done that. So now I know about them strictly because they pissed off a couple people.
Yeah. No, that's what I was getting to about bringing this up in the first place. Is that I'd heard about it. I didn't really care about it, but the fact that I heard it on fucking CTV News, that it became that big of an issue apparently in media, fucking, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have nothing else going on that we have to talk about a theater chain based in Texas having issues about people complaining on the internet is Canadian news somehow?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Who cares? If you do, you have all rights to be offended. People have a right to not give a fuck about you being offended about it. But at the end of the day, people who haven't heard about the Alamo Draft House Theater now know about it which means their advertising worked.
Yes.
I refuse to believe that that's the reason why they did it.
They know they did.
They know that it would, but I'm saying it's not. If they were to like we need to do advertising, how should we get people to? But also, we are learning, us knowing about Alamo. How does that change Alamo? Like literally, we are probably thousands of miles
It's free
away.
advertising.
No, but we are literally thousands of miles away from this theater, the closest one. It's based mostly in Texas. It has a couple others throughout the United States. Me knowing about Alamo, I knew about it before this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go to Alamo.
Oh yeah, but you and me being exposed to it, and Adrian here being exposed to it, it's not just specific to us. It's also other people that
Yeah, like you
have
got to think
never
all
heard
around
of
the
it.
states where they have that. You'll have those people who are now like, Matt, now I know about this theater. Now I know about. So if they hear more about it, they're gonna look into it, or they may have already looked into it and been like, "What is with this theater?" and then found out about all these other nights they have. I'm not saying this is the reason why they did it. I'm just saying that it was part of it.
I just don't want to be jaded enough to believe everything's a publicity stunt.
I don't think it initially was. I think they just rolled with the punches.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the whole thing was, okay, we have to do this to get publicity, but the thing is, though, it was put in a way where they knew there was a chance of stirring the pot.
But I would have been more pissed off if they said we were going to do this, and then they're backlash, and they just step back and were like, okay, fine, we won't do it. I would have been pissed at them if they did that. If they got the backlash saying, how come there's no men's night, and said, fine, we won't do it, then I'd be pissed at them. I'd be like, that's so stupid that
doesn't always happen. Like, you could, like, that just
like,
is a thing.
Once they said we were going to do it, what would have been what would you say their choice should have been?
Their choice was to do it whether or not. That's irrelevant.
I know, but I'm just saying, where it's like... I get that they knew that it might get some backlash, but it's... So what?
That's my opinion. Is that I don't think they started the event in mind with having this backlash. But I'm firmly in the belief that once it did happen, they rolled with the punches and.
I think they steered into this.
Yeah.
They steered into the skid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also a thing where it's like, I'm sure they didn't believe that it would get to this degree.
No. I'm with you there. I refuse to believe that they thought it would get to the point where it's basically national news.
It's fucking
international news.
Yes,
international.
that's it.
We're a separate continent. All right, that's it. We're done here.